I'm recording.
Lit.
That's our slate.
Because we're poor.
Ballin' on a budget.
Balling on a budget.
Well, welcome back to our next episode of the Junk Drawer Show, featuring myself and my co-host, partner in crime, Josh, the man, the myth, the legend, the enormous penis Delgado.
Oh, stop. Thud.
That was his penis.
I was afraid to hit it hard because I didn't want to shake the table.
It's a bad table.
Yeah,
it's not a good table. So what we're going to do is, in a very non-intimate way, even though we talk about each other's penises quite a bit, sorry, Mom, we're going to do the 36 questions to better know your partner.
Aww.
Yeah. This was Josh's idea.
It was. So this is something I found maybe a year and a half ago, just on Reddit or on the internet somewhere. And I said, you know what, one day I'm going to use this. So I downloaded the app, and it has 36 questions. But we can't use the app because the camera is our phones.
Balling on a budget.
So, yeah, we're going to go through these questions, get to know each other more since we've known each other for 5 years. And
the interaction has been like in very bursted segments, though. Like we'll see each other nonstop for like 2 months, and then we'll go 6 months without seeing each other. And then it's like, oh my God, Josh is here. And I'm like, you have a beard now. Like it's really been that kind of interaction, I think. It's been like, oh wow, Josh looks different from the last time I saw him. Puberty kicked in or something. I don't.
Finally.
Man, we were hoping. We were
It's about
waiting.
time my voice dropped.
It's my favorite.
Oh, let's make sure that it's like in focus too.
Oh yeah, we need to do that.
If it's not, just tap on my face.
It is in focus, but I'm gonna tap on your face anyway. Just, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Hello there.
Ballin' on a budget.
Ballin' on a budget.
That's what we should call this episode. Hashtag ballin' on a budget.
I can see the graphic to it. It's like, ballin' on a budget. No, it's like a sprinkly, like fairy, like
It's like adorable, but it looks really bad because we are balling on a budget.
Yeah.
It's not great.
We're poor.
That's why we're 26 and live with each other.
I'm 25.
Okay.
Sir.
Sorry, bitch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's my
All
name.
right. Let's do this. Question number one. We're going to alternate questions. You're going to ask me some. I'm going to ask you some. Question number one. Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest?
I go in cycles of people who I really want to just like pick their brain. Donald Glover is always my fallback, just because he's done everything that I want to do.
He's done everything in the world.
Yeah,
And well.
and well, yeah, he does it well. And he was an RA at NYU, I think, too. Which so was I. So we could talk about dumb
We're
kids.
the same.
I'm basically the white Donald Glover. That's what he wanted, right?
Yeah.
For people to call Josh the white Donald Glover.
Josh is the white Donald Glover. Yeah.
Yeah, he said James Franco,
But
he meant
Josh Delgado.
Delgado.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. James Franco, Josh Delgado. It's like close. It's like the same.
Pretty close.
You and James Franco, people confuse you guys all the time.
All the time.
the
It's
time.
crazy.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
We just have panties just sent to our apartment all the time.
Yeah, it's weird because they're in packaging too.
Yeah, I don't get that. Is that a thing that do you order them under the guise of James Franco?
I mean, I could say no. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's fair. Man, Donald Glover. I didn't even think of that. I feel like my answer is going to be not as good. But someone I would like to sit down and talk with, dinner guest. I'm going to take probably the cliched route, but I'd like to talk to Barack Obama. And he's not someone that I voted for. Even in his second term, I voted for Mitt Romney, whether that makes people upset or mad at me or whatever. But I think that he's a very intelligent man. He's very astute. And I would love to talk to him about, what it was like being the first African-American president, the backlash that he faces and kind of like how he rose above it, because never once did he become like kind of bitter as I think he could have.
Yeah.
I think normal people like myself, you know, when people are like, oh, you're just blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to punch you in the mouth. Like, no, he never one time was like, I'm going to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, he still seems to have a pretty cheery disposition.
Yeah. Which isn't like, the aging definitely happened, like happens with most presidents, like from first term to last term. But he definitely, like, he looked like he enjoyed his time in office, but he also looked like it sucked the life out of him. So it's a weird in-between thing, but it happens with most presidents. You see their before and their after picture.
Yeah, and they age 20 years.
Yeah, it's just a lot of stress. But I would really like to talk to him and just kind of talk about the struggles and the trials and the tribulations of things as, you know, in a presidency. So that's how I feel.
Yeah.
But,
All right, question number 2. Would you like to be famous? In what way? That just assumes you're going to say yes.
well, I don't know anybody. Like, I get that there's like a bad thing that goes with being famous. Like, I understand that like there's a stigma that's like, you're never alone, you're never there. Like, I would like to be famous for some like stuff like this. I want to start, you know, we've talked about starting a news network. We've talked about, you know, this podcast, things like that. I don't know if I'd ever want to be like Brad Pitt, can't let your address get out
Like
there.
God
famous.
level kind of thing.
Yeah, Brad Pitt is God level famous. I don't think I'd ever want to be like that, but I would totally be happy being YouTube famous, where only like YouTube people that are avid YouTubers would know me. I'd be super, super duper okay with that. And just create content for people that, you know, I could enjoy, that they enjoyed. I don't think I'd ever want to be like Robert Downey Jr. Like, I'm making hundreds of $1 million per movie. Like, I feel like there's a pressure that comes with that too. Like, you're like, oh, you're Robert Downey Jr. What you got? And
Yeah.
It's like,
Perform all the time.
yeah, always be on. And I'm not like, sometimes I just want to tell people to get out of my face.
Hold on, I'm going to grab my wrist things.
Yeah.
Acting up. That's the problem, is sitting always does it.
That's so weird.
Which is, I think it's something like in the way that I sit, like my spine and everything. I'm just going to grab both to be safe.
Grab both. Why not?
Trying to sit down without bumping stuff.
Difficult when there's a bike behind you.
Yeah. Did you say there's some junk behind
Some
me?
junk in a drawer? No, it's a bike. It doesn't fit in a drawer.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Like, I want to be well known, but not famous. Like a microcosm of fame. And that's not because I want the attention. It's because I want to have the doors open for me when I want to do other things. Like, if this could be a springboard for doing film stuff or more web development work or travel, it's really just being known opens doors, and that's really all I want.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about who you know. It's always been that way, and I think every industry is more of, you know, there's a bit of politics that go with everything, and that's not something I'm good with. I've always had a problem censoring myself, and I feel like that's kind of why I wanted to do this podcast, and I feel like you're a good person to kind of balance that out, because I will get so high and so animated sometimes, and you're a very calming medium. You're very, you know, in the middle.
Yeah.
And you give points very pointed and very matter of fact, and I like that. And instead, I'm just like, words, more words. Look at all the words, and like that's not how you have a conversation.
Right.
So I feel like this is, you know, we feed off of that in a good.
We balance.
We balance.
Touch.
Touch my thing.
That was nice.
That was good. All right. So before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Why?
Yes, because I fucking hate the phone. It's the fucking worst. It's not as bad now, but I used to get really anxious before I went on the phone. Especially talking to people I didn't know. And because I don't like, one, I don't like having to ask, what did you say?
Yeah.
Especially over and over, because it makes me feel rude, like I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
But really,
But
you're just not articulating.
Yeah.
And phone quality sucks.
Yeah.
So if it's something like setting up an appointment or that
Ordering
thing,
pizza.
yeah, I'll be like, okay, this is how the conversation will probably play out. And yeah, but I'm kind of an anxious person.
I would choose to text or like message over, like if I can order my pizza online, I'm going to order my pizza online.
Which you can now.
Which you can. Human interaction is concerning. The only times I ever really do that, I'm like the opposite of that. I thrive in human contact, other than when I'm trying to get things promptly and when people are like, would you say you want pepperoni? And I'm like, oh my God, just please give me my food.
Yeah.
I just want it. So that's why I'll avoid that avenue. But the only times I ever really do that is when a big conversation's coming up with like a significant other. Mm-hmm. I'll do like every scenario, and then none of the things that I say leading up to that actually get used in the conversation.
Yeah.
So I just end up talking to myself for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I'm a crazy person.
See, that's interesting because when I have a serious conversation and it has to happen over phone, I don't at all.
You don't rehearse anything?
No. And I think that's because a conversation with someone I know and care about, it's going to be personal. There's not a set script. There's not an expectation of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because if you set an appointment, they get those calls all the time. So in their head, they're like, all right, they're going to call. They're going to say, my name is this. I'm available this time. It's like they have a script and this knowledge that I don't have.
There's a mental checklist.
Yeah. And that's not there with friendly conversations. It's just like, bleh.
It's just, here are the words. Take them.
Yeah.
So I respect that. I understand. I don't know. I guess I get in my own head about it. That's kind of my thing.
I do think it's funny the things that we get in our own heads about and how they're the polar opposite for phone stuff. Number 4, what would constitute a perfect day for you?
Ooh, perfect day. For me, ideally, it would be able to sit on my ass and make money. Ultimately, but in my today's, it would probably be something along the lines of, waking up 10-ish, go to the gym, do one of these because this is therapy. I feel like it's therapeutic for me. I don't know how it feels for you, but it's definitely something that like makes me feel better. You know? And it like, it's a release and it's exciting. I get an endorphin buzz from it and then I'm all kinds of fired up. Spending time with my girlfriend and just kind of like hanging out, watching Netflix, and ultimately like the thing I'd like to be watching on Netflix would be Stranger Things season 2 because that can't come out fast enough.
2 months?
2 months, October.
3 months.
Oh my God. October 27th. October 27th. I'm so ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to be low key. I think it's because of my job, because I'm constantly around people, constantly performing, being excited, being high energy. My perfect day is fairly lazy. Maybe watch a hockey game. Like that's about it. But
watch it on TV or watch it.
I love going to games, but if I can watch a game at home, I feel like I can enjoy it a little more because I'm not in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Right.
So when I go to watch Lightning games and I'm cheering for the Flyers, like I get some dirty
You're gonna
looks.
get some shit.
Yeah, it happens like a lot. So I think watching it at home where I can kind of enjoy it, and my significant other can ask me questions and I can answer questions and do that. It's more personal and it's more quality time over quantity time. So that's probably my perfect day. How about you? What's your perfect day?
Does this include being able to not sleep? Can I get rid of sleep as a possibility?
If that is your perfect day, if not sleeping and being able to be cognizant is your thing, then do it.
Yeah, if I could get rid of sleep and just be doing stuff 24/7, I would. I only sleep because I'll die. Otherwise,
definitely die.
My perfect day would be, I would definitely work out in some way.
Yeah.
Probably something like rock climbing. It's a little more adventurous.
Yeah. Harness, no harness.
Depends how high up I am.
Fair.
Probably, bouldering is when you don't have a harness.
Okay.
That'd be cool as fuck.
You're in Florida. It's not going to happen.
I know. So I got to get the fuck out.
You got to get out of here.
So I would do some sort of like fun exercise like that. And as weird as it seems, I would do a lot of work. But this kind of work though, like podcast work or programming or
like
film.
It's therapeutic. It really is something that, you put your heart into.
Yeah. I have a constant need to do something, especially create, even if it's just task-based creation. If I can sit down and code for like 2 hours and not be disturbed and not break focus, that is super relaxing for me because I can't focus ever. It's very hard for me to do one thing. So
You have ADHD.
oh yes, I sure do. Sure do, Pat. But it would be so work a bunch. I would want to spend time with a group of like 5 or 6 people I'm very close with. Whether that's going to see a movie or if it's nice out, just hanging out outside. I'm a very simple person as well.
Yeah.
I just want to be productive and hang out with the people that I like and not hang out with the people I don't like.
Yeah, you have to do that sometimes, especially in my line of work.
Yeah. Oh, I'd also want to eat at some point.
Oh, I love eating.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite thing to do. Question 5. When did you last sing to yourself or to someone else? I'm going to say and to someone else. So when did you last sing to you? And when was the last time you sang to someone?
I sing almost constantly.
That's true. We do sing around the house like all the time.
So within the past 2 hours for both of them, I'm pretty sure I sang to you.
Yeah. Yeah. That was literally happening as we were setting up.
Yeah.
We were setting up.
So the answer for both of us is
literally a couple
20
minutes
minutes ago.
Yeah. Like right before this started.
Yeah.
We were singing to each other. Good for us.
I'm glad we could answer that one together.
Yeah. I feel like we're more of a partnership now.
Okay, so 6. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want?
For me personally, I think it would be body because my mind is already shot. So I'm just like, let's turn into the skid. But I want to be able to be able-bodied. You know, when I get older, like playing hockey, going out and doing things, like I'm in horrible shape for me right now, but I'm still in like shape where I can move all of my things from my apartment to another apartment.
Right.
Like getting to that point where I have to stop doing things for myself terrifies me. Mm-hmm. It's like one of my greatest fears in life is like, what happens the day I can't get out of bed by myself? Like what happens the day that, and I have issues with like my knees and my hip and stuff, but, ultimately I think that the body, I would want to keep my 30-year-old body, whether it's in a good shape or not, it'll still be better than being 90.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think up until the past year, I would have said mind because most of the things I do are very heady. Mm-hmm. And then it's like video games and programming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But since like I hurt my wrists, I really realized how, like you said, important just personal mobility is.
Yeah.
And
just on a day-to-day basis.
yeah, like when this was really bad, driving sucked.
Yeah.
Like I had to either use my wrists to like pressure on it because I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I just bought a manual too, so like shifting was a bitch.
Was the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, so assuming that my mind would still be functioning, I would like to go with body.
Yeah, I don't want to just be drooling. I just don't want to be like a sack of drool.
Yeah.
But be able-bodied. Like, I don't want to be Bane from Batman and Robin. But,
right.
But ultimately, like, as long as I can keep my faculties about me in my brain, of course, I want my body to be able to do stuff.
Yeah, and there's so much benefit your brain gets by your body being active.
Exactly.
That it's almost a cop-out in saying that, yeah, if my body's good, my brain's going to be good too, so fuck you, question.
Yeah. But also,
fuck you, question.
Yeah. So question number 7. Do you have a secret hunch about how you will die? I feel like that's a horrible question.
I told you they start to get dark.
Like, yeah, do you have anyone that wants to kill you? Who do you owe money to? Like, no.
Someone busts through the door.
This podcast will get so real.
Hunch how I'll die. I don't know. My gut kind of says old age or freak accident because I don't do anything crazy.
Bouldering accident?
Yeah, bouldering accident. And I'm pretty good at knowing my limits. So I'm not going to push myself too far to the point where I'll try to boulder without experience.
Yeah.
So something out of my control, car crash or aging. Actually, when I was a kid, I had this irrational fear of flying. Mm-hmm. Not because I thought the plane would crash, but I thought my seat would be on a trapdoor,
Yeah.
and that it would just swing out, and I'd
course.
fall down,
That's-
and everyone else would be fine.
Everyone else is fine. They were just like, this little kid needs to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
So I don't know where it came from, but that was from like the ages of 8 until 12.
Well, maybe because we grew up in the same time. Did you also have an irrational fear of quicksand? That quicksand was just everywhere.
Everywhere?
Yeah, like you're like, anytime I go into the woods, there will be quicksand, because every show we ever watched growing up was like quicksand.
Look out for quicksand.
Yeah, it's like I forever like was the longest, like I terrified. Always terrified. I was like, I'm gonna see some quicksand. How do I get out of that? And I would like, you have to stand perfectly still. You go slower, and then you have to pull yourself out. And I was like, okay, I have a plan. If I ever get into quicksand, I'm never going to come into contact with quicksand.
Yeah, and I think I wasn't afraid of it because I was taught what to do. You move real slow, and that's how you get out of quicksand. It's ironic. But I was always concerned. Like, well, I gotta be vigilant. They're talking about it all the time. That's how I know it's real.
In every show, someone falls into quicksand at some point in time. And that's, I mean, I don't...
The 90s were weird.
Yeah, our cartoons were just like the worst. I feel kind of the same way about like my hunch. I think my eating habits will probably catch up to me ultimately. If I don't make that better, which I'm going to try to once I'm not poor. So please watch our podcast.
Make us not poor so Pat doesn't die.
Make us not poor so I don't die of cardiac arrest. No, I think it's that. But I've also, if we can go back to your dinner partner, Donald Glover, he has a song called The Last, and he has a line that he says, and it's, I'm here for a good, not a long time. And I kind of feel like that rings true, not in the sense of I want to die, but it's in the sense of if I accomplish everything that I want, which is, there's lofty goals and expectations and stuff. But if I can leave my mark on the world, whenever I go is whenever I go, you know? And
Yeah.
I realize that, you know, maybe there's not a greater being in the world, not a greater power at work, but maybe there is. And, you know, when it's my time, it's my time. And whether it's a car crash, whether it's quicksand, you know, whether it's cardiac arrest, like, I think as long as I've made my mark, I'm not really concerned about it. You know, I try to, you know, live for now and not for later. So it's not something that I like often think about. But yeah, that Donald Glover line has always stayed with me. So that's something that, yeah.
All right. Number 8. Name 3 things you and I have in common.
Oh, you and I have in common. We both play Rocket League.
We do.
On different levels, but we definitely both play Rocket League.
We both have the controllers in our hand.
We both have controllers. My car does not do what I want it to. Yours does exactly what you want it to. I think that you and I have a common goal to leave the world better than it was left for us. Mm-hmm. And whether that's, you know, a small amount, whether it's, you know, incremental, or it's a giant, like we've, you know, made people aware of things and we've started conversations and we've created more understanding and more perspectives. Whether that's on, like I said, on a small scale or a large scale, I feel like that's something that we both share. Mm-hmm. And we both wear glasses.
Damn it, that was going to be my third one too.
2 guys wearing glasses.
Glasses. There we go, singing to each other.
Yeah,
again.
There it is. Still, that was actually a joke name for our podcast initially. Was 2 guys that wear glasses.
Yeah, real succinct.
Perfect. It would be real bad when I wore contacts.
Yeah, I'd have to wear glasses or contacts then too, or 2 pairs of glasses.
2 pair. Yeah, you'd have to double up. One on like your hat.
Mm-hmm. That'd be 6 eyes.
So many eyes. Well, arguably too many eyes.
Yeah, too many.
Too many.
I mean, there's a law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Once you get past 4, it's just like,
why?
Just donate it. Just
have
grow the fuck up.
Donate it. Just get rid of it. What about you?
Okay, so 3 things. See, the campsite thing is a big one, where you leave it better than you. Mm-hmm. I think both of us have a strong desire to be net goods in every.
I'll say impactful. I feel like that's a word that I didn't say, and I feel like it's
good.
It's a good, you know, adjective to what we would want to be.
But I think impactful but specifically in a positive way.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to never hurt someone in some way or
Yeah.
do some sort of negative. But that's why, as long as you do more good than bad, I think both of us have that drive.
Yeah, it'll cancel out.
And speaking of drive, we both really want to create
Yeah.
all the time.
There's, I mean, I would sometimes like people, I feel like don't understand. Like you and I are constantly throwing ideas back and forth. Like it'll be in a text message. It'll be, you know, it's constant. We're constantly figuring out. Like you sent me like 3 texts that were all podcast ideas that we're nowhere close to being able to do.
Yeah.
But like stuff that it's like, ooh, if we can get there and do it right, like it'll be dope.
Yeah, and it's just a compulsion. Like you can train yourself to a certain extent to want to build things constantly, but it's just we're that type of person.
Well, and to speak on that still, I mean, I think we constantly create too with like we talk and the voices that we do and the characters and like the sing-songy things.
Yeah.
It's on a smaller scale, but we're still creating, and it's still something that you can't really turn off. Like in my brain, I can't, you know, not when I think of something that I want to write or I think of something that I want to do, I can't just shut it off because it just keeps like knocking on the door and it's like, hey, I'm still here.
Hey, hang out with me.
It's like Stuart and Mom,
Mummy.
Mama,
Mum.
Hi.
So those are the two. We're driven, leave things better than we found it, and we're secret Puerto Ricans.
We are secret Puerto Ricans.
We're very
true.
light-skinned.
Very light-skinned.
So
Very light-skinned. We should go to the pool.
yeah, I've thought about it.
It's there.
It's there, and then I stay inside and work, and then by the time I'm ready, I'm like, oh, cool, I'm done working for the day. It's
dark.
It's nighttime.
Yeah.
And there's no sun out in the nighttime.
Can't get darker now. Secret Puerto Ricans is a good one.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, you're not Puerto Rican. I'm like, how the hell do you know? Tell me what I am.
I honestly forgot until like the second week we were living here.
Yeah.
And I said something about Puerto Rico, and you're like, yeah, we, saying that we were both Puerto Rican. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Both of us.
You have blue eyes. You can't even talk.
Yeah. And Mal too, right? Mal's, or she's Cuban.
I think she's Cuban.
Whatever.
She's dirty, and we don't talk
Yeah,
about
we
that.
don't like them.
Sorry, Cuban listeners.
I'm not sorry.
Number 9. For what in your life do you feel most grateful?
Most grateful.
I feel like we're getting deeper down the
Yeah.
rabbit hole.
I would say my ability to, I don't know if it's learn or adapt, but I'm just very flexible. Like I pick things up quickly.
Yeah.
So if something changes, and I wasn't always this way. I've had to work on it. But
Yeah.
if something bad happens, it doesn't affect me. I'm like, okay, that sucks. Now what? Now how do I move forward?
Yeah.
And actually, thinking about it, a lot of that does have to do with my mom, because I remember multiple times being young and something bad would happen. She'd say like, all right, yes, that thing's bad. Now what are we going to do about it? You can only move forward. You can't control what happens, just how you react to it.
No, and I feel like that's something you're, in the small time we've lived together, and I guess we've known each other for a while, but like I said, there's been these gaps in between seeing each other. It's something that I really hope to help, to while living with you, learn and pick up from you, because it's something I don't do that well. I am not good at not stressing about things that are in the past and, you know, focusing on the future. And you are very good at that. And I am just not. Letting things go is very difficult.
Yeah.
It's
You're a fiery Puerto Rican.
yeah, that's where it comes out. That and eating rice, like it's just that's pretty. And when this grows out, it's super curly and wavy and stuff, and it's real bad. I don't like to talk about it.
Yeah, mine's not as curly now. It's also been in a hat.
Yeah.
But I used to have the Hasidic Jew curls,
Oh,
like
nice.
right here. It was just
Yeah.
one side too.
Just one side.
Yeah.
You're only half.
Yeah, it was only half Jewish.
Only half Jewish. Not a big deal. I'm grateful for my ability to speak my mind, because as I've gotten older, I've realized that not a lot of people can just come out and say what they feel or what they think, and be able to kind of emote the kind of response or give an answer that's succinct. They're like, oh, I like that. And I'm like, it's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you why I think it's dumb. And that's a thing I don't think a lot of people can do. I feel like it's an, public speaking is very difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I've never had that problem. So it's
listed as, or at least at some point, it was the number one fear in the world over death. So people would rather die.
They would rather die than talk in public.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that you hope to get the adaptability thing from me, because speaking my mind without, or I guess just speaking my mind period, is something that I want to get from you, because I can do it, but there is that hesitancy where I have to remind myself, like, oh, you can have an opinion.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, and one of the problems I find with it, and that is that you're going to upset people sometimes because you're like, I'm going to respond immediately, but there's always time to kind of edit what you say. Like you can go back and say, this is when I was upset, when I was sad, when I was happy, this is what I meant. This is but when you can get out that your feelings are mixed or strong in one way or another, I feel like it helps the conversation get steered in that direction. Because if they don't know what's wrong, if they don't know if you're upset or happy or angry or anything like that, then everything's going to be as normal.
Or it's never going to change.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's not going to change. So they're just going to be like, yeah, no, Josh loves pickles. Crunch, crunch, crunch. And you're like, I'm
allergic.
You're trying to kill me.
Take me to the hospital.
So yeah, it's just something that, I think I attest that to my mother. My mom is the part I get Puerto Rican from, and she is outspoken and she will speak her mind. And I admired that growing up, and it's something that I've definitely modeled, myself after. She's a very strong, independent woman, and I want to also be a strong, independent woman. Yeah, 3 snaps. That's how it's done.
And I had a thing. Fuck, I know we were talking about things and stuff, and what I want to. I can't remember. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Okay. Poop it up.
No.
No.
I don't do that. I've evolved past that.
Oh, that's cool. You like close your butthole and stuff?
Yeah. It's called a sphincter.
Sorry, butthole. You're called a sphincter. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to eat apples and bananas. I like to opals and bananas. Josh, I'm singing Barney songs. You need to come back.
Which one?
I like to eat apples and bananas.
Is that technically a Barney song, or was it just used?
It was definitely used in Barney, but that's where I heard it, was Barney. I like to eat apples and bananas.
I like to oat, opals and bananas.
But no.
I gotta figure out how to sit, because I can feel like the whole top of my hand is burning.
Yeah, it's tensing up. Do you want a medicine? I have those.
I have them too. I just gotta sit properly or something.
Blood has to sit properly.
That's why I got this pad.
Yeah, you're on the pad. Girl.
Okay.
Your period and stuff.
Shut up.
Let's check your framing and make sure you're not out of frame.
Am I good?
It's a soft pad. I thought it was like going to give you some height. It doesn't.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It just contours my
It does.
buttocks very nicely.
Contours my buttocks.
So I remember what I was going to say.
What were you going to say?
Speaking your mind, that type of thing, is really one of the most obvious examples that I can think of, and is what helped me start doing it, is in the dating world. Because if you can either be who you are and say what you want, what you think at the beginning, and if they're a match, if they like you, cool, then you can go forward and not have to deal with the 6 months of like, oh, I really feel this way, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to upset you.
Yeah.
And then, then you spent 6 months when you could have realized at month 1 that it wasn't
Yeah.
a match.
It's kind of a take me as I am or leave me.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. And it helps you surround yourself with the type of people you want to be around, as opposed to just people for the sake of people.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's, let your freak flag fly from day one. Obviously, don't be like, I really like getting punched in the taint when I come. Like,
Yeah.
don't start that, date number 1. But,
Yeah.
if you're interested in, like, I'm a comic book nerd, I don't try to hide that anymore, as you can see. Like, it's not,
Yeah.
I don't try and hide it. Like, it's something, I have so much Batman stuff. I'm a huge Batman nerd. Like, I love the Marvel movies. I love some of the DC animated movies. Live action, we're still holding out hope. But yeah, I mean, it's just, some people are like, ew, you're into baby stuff. And I'm like, you're not into baby stuff. Get out of my face.
Get out of here.
Yeah. What do you know?
Yeah. Get out of my face.
Get out of my face. Long Island.
Yeah. What are
That's
we
my
on?
new girl.
10?
Yeah, I think it's the next one. Are we on 10 or 9? I don't even know.
Yeah. Okay, 10 is, if you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? Ooh.
My biological dad left my mom and I to be with his now wife when I was 2. I would have rather that happened like womb.
Yeah.
So I could have grown up in a sense of like normalcy. I had a very weird like emotional dynamic in life. It was like, yay, 2 Christmases. Aw, 2 Christmases.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I would have rather had a more traditional life, which I realize like a lot of kids nowadays don't get that. Like a lot of kids have 2 Christmases and stuff. But if I could do one thing, like either keep them together and I love my stepdad. He's one of the most amazing men I've ever met in my life. Or just like have him there from day one. So I have a sense of normalcy.
Right. That makes sense. Because I had a similar, not at 2, but my parents split when I was 10, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, I'm a big believer in we are who we are because of our past experiences. So I'd be hesitant to say that I'd want that to change because I'm pretty content with who I am. I still want to, I always want to improve. But I think in general, I'm doing all right. So if I had to change something,
look more Puerto Rican.
It's really more. It's not. It's hard because it's not how I was raised. It's just things I wish I had. Like, hold on. We'll cut that part because this is just kind of like rambling. But I guess the way I would change how I was raised is forcing me to pursue my ideas more.
Mm-hmm.
Because I finally started to do it now, but I have a very entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
And like when I was a kid, I found a website that you could, I want to say it was like $25 and you'd get like 25 DVDs or something, but there was a random box. So I'm like, oh, I can buy these and then sell them. And I ended up like, I think I lost a little bit of money on it, but that kind of thing. Like I wish that was nurtured earlier on.
Yeah.
Which is no fault on my parents, but
no,
it's just something I know I love now, and that, the sooner you can start, the better. But
if you guys need an Amazon Echo,
I got 2 left.
So this one is going to be exciting. Take 4 minutes and tell your partner your life story in as much detail as possible. So I'm slightly confused by that because are we supposed to tell it in as much detail as possible to this moment in 4 minutes, or is it do it as much as you can in 4 minutes and where you end up is where you end up?
The way that I've done it, the one time I did it was you have 4 minutes and then just try to get as much as you can.
Dope.
It kind of depends on what you feel like doing. Like if you're a person who is really about the details, then you'll do that. If you want to make sure you hit 4 minutes, then you make sure you hit 4 minutes.
Well, I'm going to time you, so you're going to hit 4 minutes.
Dope.
If I have a stopwatch on here, which I might, but it's also from not a recent time. All right. You ready, partner?
Okay.
Go.
Okay. So I was born in Michigan.
Really?
Yeah, I was 0 when I was born.
Dope.
Yeah. So I was born in Michigan, in Lansing, Michigan. We lived there for 2 years. I think my mom was in nursing school. My dad was going for his master's in chemical engineering. And then when I was 2, we moved to Texas. And we were in Texas for 3 or 4 years. And that's where my brother was born. And my dad was working for either DuPont or Conoco. So we lived there for a bit, and it was a nice place. It was in Victoria, Texas. I don't remember much else because I was, 3.
Yeah.
And then after that, we moved to Oklahoma, where my dad worked for either Conoco or DuPont. My mom was a nurse. My brother was 4 years younger than me, and we would play video games. And that was when my brother finally discovered video games, because it was always just me playing and he would watch.
Yeah.
And one day we were on a road trip from Oklahoma to my family in Pennsylvania. We were at a Wendy's.
It's a hell of a road trip.
Oh, it was a hell of a road trip. But we had a van, so we put all the things down. We just kind of laid down on the floor.
Yeah.
But we were at a Wendy's, and I went to the bathroom, and I said, "Here, Eli, you can play Mario until I get back."
That's always how it works.
Yeah, and I came back. I didn't get to play anymore. So that was Oklahoma. What am I at?
A minute and a half.
Cool. Okay, so Oklahoma. Left there when I was 9, 2001. Came to Florida, lived over in Tampa area. And my dad started an accounting firm because he did. It's just what he did. Because I have a lot of family in Florida, so we moved here to be closer to them.
Yeah.
My mom continued nursing and then lived there for a while. Parents got divorced. Moved with my mom to Newport Richey, which is still Tampa area.
Yeah.
Did that. Went to school. Did theater. Started making movies. Started making music. Then started went to UCF because I was going to do film. And I only applied to UCF and FSU. And FSU let me in without finishing the application. So I said, no. I'll go to UCF. So I went to UCF, switched my major 5 times. So
Sick.
Between psych, business, web design, game design, and something else. Film, yeah. Landed on web design. I was an RA for 3.5 of those years.
Sounds horrible.
It was okay. It wasn't too bad. And through 2 of the summers, I was up in New York with internships. One with it was basically RA for kids, for high school kids as a college prep program. They were fucking rich as hell. They would spend $10,000 for 3 weeks. Yeah. And then they'd still get limos. And it was insane. There were princes and people. We had one princess, actually, at one point. And the second one was with not accounting, a marketing agency, for healthcare. And I was their first web intern. So I was basically I did whatever everyone else hadn't done yet. So it was some web, but it was a lot of just advertising. I got 30 seconds left. Then I graduated, and then I started freelancing web design and development. I've been doing that for about 2 years, 2.5 years now. And now I'm working on podcasts too, and traveling. And my wrist hurt starting a year ago.
That's true.
And
You're running out of stuff.
yeah, well, it's the beginning is so set
much
in stone because there's not a whole lot to talk about. It's just,
Yeah.
I was born and then I moved here and here. And now it's there's so many things that happen.
Did you ever think about kidnapping one of the children for ransom?
I thought about it, but the ones that were worth kidnapping had bodyguards.
Oh, of course.
So, yeah.
Oh, of course.
But that was insane. It was a great summer too because you could you had to develop programs for them or trips to take them on, and if you had 3 of the students that were interested out of 150, 300, then the trip would be paid for you. So I went surfing twice. I went to fancy restaurants, Top of the Rock, to see the whole.
Top of the Rock's dope.
Yeah.
Good Top of the Rock.
And it was all paid for because these kids were spending $10,000 up for 3 weeks.
That's
It's
insane.
insane. But it was a lot of fun. So
Anything in that moment that you were just kind of, did anything happen that you were like, this is surreal? I can't believe like I got here because of that little cretin over there.
get to
Like
the,
experience anything like Top of the Rock? Was that like oh my God, I'm staring at all of New York City because I have 3 small children that are like, yeah, I guess we could take him.
yeah. Not from the trips. I did have one. I think the only big aha moment I had while I was there, or at least that I could think of, is I was talking to one of the girls I met, Jenny, and I was telling her how I want to move out of Florida at some point. And she's like, okay, yeah, why don't you just do it now? And up until that point, I was like, oh, I can. I'm in school and everything. And that was the first time I realized, oh, shit, if I really wanted to, I could just do it.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I'm an
can-
adult now. I can do what I want, and no one can stop me.
It's a crazy realization
Yeah.
to wake up and you're like, I can drive wherever I want. I can drink whatever I want. Like all the excitement, all the milestones that you look at when you're young are just like in the rear view.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them real far.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been driving for 11 years.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
Yeah, it's a horrible realization. Okay,
All right,
so me, 4 minutes. I guess tell me when I'm.
Go.
So I was born in Cape May Courthouse, Burdett Tomlin Hospital. We called it Burdett because it was bad.
Okay.
Where I come from a very small area in New Jersey, South Jersey, the most south, not Jersey Shore. Please don't ask me about that. No one fist pumps there. Never have, never will. And we only have one hospital really in the area. We have a bunch of like little like quick meta stops, but that's the only real hospital we have.
Like urgent care?
Yeah, we have a couple like little urgent cares, but like we only have one hospital because we're such a small little area, and it's in Courthouse. I was born on April the 10th. I was supposed to be Frederick Joseph Pomplik III after my father, but my father told my mom that he hated his name, so she named me after Patrick Swayze. That's a real thing. I was named after the actor that starred in Roadhouse, the manliest movie ever made.
Why you're so manly?
Yeah, so manly. I lived with my mom in a duplex for the first few years of my life. Vaguely remember that. We moved in with my stepdad when I was 4. I called him sir for about 6 months before he let me call him Ken. Or he told me, he's like, just call me Ken. And it finally like set in. I was like, okay, Ken. Because it was an adult.
Oh.
You're like, you're not supposed to
Use
do
their-
that. Yeah, it was just sir. Because my mom like raised me right. We moved in with him. My brother was born shortly thereafter. He was born a couple months premature. So when he came home and my parents laid him in his crib, I said, I'm angry at you, buddy. And I punched him in the face. There's video of that. I've had various uncles and stuff go in the military. So that's been something that I've had my entire life. We always lived like 25, 30 minutes away from my grandparents. So every weekend we'd go over see my grandparents. We'd have, family meals and stuff. My mom's worked really hard her whole life to make sure that she provided for me and my siblings. After a couple years of living in Wildwood, we moved to the Villas, where my parents still live. My sister was born right before that. She was a 2000 baby. I went to high school, Lower Cape May Regional, played hockey for a bunch of time throughout the middle of that. My best friend was Andrew Wampler growing up. He just got engaged. He's gonna be, having a bachelor party that I have to plan at some point in the near future.
Oh boy.
That'll be exciting, I think. What else? My senior year, I had not applied to one university, not one, until Full Sail University came to my school. I was completely enthralled because I loved editing and news stuff, TV. I was a huge writer, so I was like, that's what I want to do. I did a tour in February with my mom. We went to Full Sail. We did a weekend, and it was amazing, and I loved it. I applied, got in, because all they want is money.
48K a year.
Yeah, it's a little nuts. So I did that. I went to Full Sail. My grandpa got sick. I had 6 months left before I graduated. Got kicked out because my financial aid didn't go through because my financial aid advisor forgot to file my loans. Moved home for a year because my grandpa had cancer. After that year, he got better and I moved back here. And ever since, I've been living with a mixture of people trying to cultivate this and let my creative genes flow. I've been working for Tasty Trivia for about 6 years now, a company started by Craig Brooks, but I was there basically from day one, and it's been super nice. But I'm trying to do my own path and kind of follow in his footsteps, I guess, by doing this, but not as like entertainment for, you know, a group of people. I want it for the masses. Yeah.
Damn. Right at 4 minutes.
Yeah, I feel good about that. I feel like I got a lot of information out. But I feel like I talked kind of fast. But whatever.
That's the thing with that is you have to. Yeah. And I think what's interesting about it
was almost afraid to breathe.
Yeah, because it's valuable time.
It's valuable time.
But you see what people either value or what big moments were in someone's life. So like mine, it's like, okay, I moved. Then I moved again. Parents divorced. Moved again. School. This was a big thing I did. And yours, especially at the beginning, you were very family focused.
Yeah.
Which I know you're a huge family guy.
I'm a big family person. I think it's part of like my mom being the Puerto Rican person, and like in Puerto Rico, what they do is like there's the house that mom and dad own, and then what they do is they'll buy the plot of land and build houses for their kids behind it, and then it's like they're all like just neighborhoods are of families.
Yeah.
So, you know, we being the fact that we only live 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes away from my grandparents, like we got over there as much as we could. And, you know, one year my grandpa like put up an above ground pool so that all of the grandkids could come over and swim in the summer. And like, so I've always been a big family guy. I love family, and that's, you know, something that's stayed with me my whole life. And I think will stay with me when I get my own family and I have kids and, you know, start on that part of my life. But hopefully that's not for the next little bit. I want to, more than anything at this time, I want to be successful. You know, if I bring a kid into this world, I want to be like, you know, look what I've done. You know, I started late. I started, you know, knowing what I know now. I wish that I could have started younger, and instead of spending all that money to go to Full Sail, I just would have put it in a bank account and been like, okay, let's just start creating. Let's start, you know, let's start, you know, like you said, the entrepreneurial spirit. Let's start just doing stuff. And, you know, I want to be like, look, I started late. Like, I want to be able to give them a leg up and be like, what do you want to do? Because whatever you want to do it the best. Do what you can do to be the best at it, and don't stop learning, don't stop trying, don't stop. And that's how I was raised. You know, it was my dad is notorious for saying, you know, whatever job you're doing, give it 100% because you never know where it'll go.
Right.
And the day that you go in to work and you're like, I have nothing else to learn, quit, because you're not going to get better at it. You can always get better.
Yeah, you'll stop growing.
Yeah. So, you know, that's something that, you know, a family has led me to all that stuff, and I'm good with it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. The same with kids. I want to be very family focused as much as I can. And it's not that my family wasn't, but because of all the moving we did at the beginning, and then when my parents got divorced, it was all my dad's family is around here. So, but I was living with my mom.
Yeah.
So it was not isolating, but there wasn't the ability for that intense family all the time together. And I want to be able to provide that as much as I can. So, and I think that might be a good way or a good place to end the first segment.
No, I like where that was. We're getting kind of heavier. I have to ask, I have one more question that's not listed here, but I think it'll be, you know, just to kind of brighten it up a little bit.
Sure. Who's
your favorite superhero? We've talked about my Batman obsession, so I figure I would.
I don't know. That's a hard one, because I like Iron Man a lot, because he's a smart guy. Yeah. He's an entrepreneur.
He's a smart guy that did it all himself.
Yeah. And he's not a superhero in the sense that he has powers. He's just smart and knows what he's doing. And I like that a lot. But I also like Captain America a lot because of that pure goodness. I mean, I know it's changed now that he's like brainwashed or whatever's
Yeah.
going on. I don't follow it super
Hail
closely.
Hydra
Yeah.
and stuff. That was
But-
crazy.
I think I'd have to land on Iron Man because of that it's just being good at something, doing that thing, doing it for a good purpose. And starting off as, I don't know how to word this. It's like you can always turn it around.
Yeah,
Because Tony Stark was an arms dealer.
yeah.
And then he's like, oh shit, I'm
This is
hurting
bad.
people.
Yeah,
So
he wanted to then save people. Do you think that that's something that's affected your work and ways that you've gone and like done things? Do you think like, will you, is that why you want to do something like this? Is that why you want to create the conversation? Has Tony Stark affected you in that aspect that you're like, I'm a smart guy, I want to do things, I'm afforded things because I'm a smart guy. I live in the United States where I'm allowed to say basically whatever I want. I want to better other people's situations. Is that something that you kind of view this podcast as, is like your foray of channeling your inner Tony Stark and kind of trying to better, other people's situation with what you have at this moment?
not because of Iron Man, but that is how I see it. Like I've always recognized that I'm very lucky, and I have a lot of gratitude for just my position in life and the work that my parents have put in to, put me into a good position. And I think because of that, because I've had those opportunities and that luck, that it's almost my my obligation to make other people's lives easier, especially people who don't have the luxuries that I've had. I think that's why I identify with Iron Man, but I wouldn't say that Iron Man is the reason.
No, but has it affected? Has it? You look at that and you're like, I want to do something like that. You look at that and you're like, why can't that be me? Kind of thing. Why can't I make that kind of change? Maybe obviously on a smaller scale because you don't have the millions and billions of dollars that Stark Industries
Right.
has, but
Kind of. I guess more just that I see that it I don't like using Iron Man as that because it's a fictional thing.
Yeah.
But seeing people like Philip DeFranco, Gary
Gates.
Vaynerchuk, Bill Gates, like all these people who have done huge things, or are doing huge things and are making impacts in a lot of people. Kind of lost the train of thought. But I guess those are the people that I look at more than I do
Yeah.
Iron Man.
okay.
Because like I like comics, but I've never been so
who would
deeply-
you more? Okay, so who would you model yourself after more, in the real sense, or do you aspire to be like more like a Philip DeFranco, where he's very much self-made, not as big, or maybe a Bill Gates who is self-made but is like, oh, I'm like the third richest man in the entire world.
Right. More DeFranco. I want to have some level of privacy. Kind of going back to the famous thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like I want to have the responsibility of fame,
Yeah.
but I want it to be a manageable level where the people around me aren't negatively
Fanatics?
impacted. Yeah. Or no, the people around me aren't affected. Like my family
Oh,
can
yeah.
still like go out in
And
public.
not be mobbed,
Yeah.
be on tabloids and all that stuff.
What
Awesome.
about you? I know Batman's a huge.
Batman, I just like it for a lot of the same reasons that you said about Tony Stark, is that he's just a guy. Yes, he has billions of dollars and the ability to, like, he has a company that, instead of, like, Tony Stark is smart in the sense of, I can make all this stuff. Batman's smart in the sense of, I don't need the stuff, but I need the stuff.
Yeah.
So, but he's just a guy. He's just a guy that's trying to, like you said, the campground theory is he's trying to leave the world better than, it was before he got there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always identified with that. And, I think, I look at him more than Iron Man just because he was more accessible. I feel like Iron Man's recently gotten huge, and I love Iron Man. I call Tony Stark, but I call Robert Downey Jr. my spirit animal, because I feel like he is just the wit and the sarcasm and how heavy he leans on it sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I would totally say that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I identified with Batman more because, you know, his parents were murdered. And granted, my parents weren't murdered and they never were really like hurt or sick or anything up until recently when my mom got cancer. But there was an abandonment and he felt abandoned. And I still struggle with abandonment now with what happened between my father and my mother. So there's issues in my life that have kind of manifested as I've gotten older. And
Right.
I like, that happening in front of Batman changed him, and that's why he is Batman. And I kind of look at it in the sense of, you know, like you said, I am who I am now because of what happened, and ultimately I wouldn't want to change it because I like who I am. But if things could be different, it'd be hard for me to be like, nah, I'll still, so.
I'll willingly give myself that tragedy.
Yeah, no, please. I would really like it if my family was completely disjointed and like, yeah, like I said, when you're younger, you're like 2 Christmases, but like as you get older, you're like, yay,
2 Christmases.
We get to go do this again. Woo.
I think it's funny that, because we were talking about it earlier, how you and I are, I think before the podcast, that you and I are very similar, but we have very different, like, backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like we're very different, but there's that core essence that people have. It's very similar.
Yeah, you and I think, you know, in the building blocks of life, we started with the same like central block. Like if you can use like a Lego piece, like we both started with 6s.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, this is how we start. And then it was like the same. And then it came time to put wheels on it. And we were like, your wheels are dumb.
Yeah. I'm going to have 6 wheels.
Man, 4.
Shut up.
Dummy.
But I say that because Batman and Iron Man are very similar.
Yes.
And it's just Marvel, DC.
Yeah. Well,
it's just further like reinforcing that idea that you and I are super similar. But
very similar with slight, you know, disparities. And
yeah, it's like when you're playing Soul Calibur and you can pick different costumes or different skins. It's like us. Give me your shoulder.
It's like us.
Yeah, it's like us.
But yeah, I think it's a great place to end it. We got a little nerdy because I love that.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm going to remind you, we're going to do this bi-weekly. And by bi-weekly, this was brought to my attention that bi-weekly actually means 2 times a week and also 1 every other week.
Yeah.
So we are going to do every other week.
English is fun.
Yeah. Isn't it great? We're going to try and release one of these, or actually we're going to release one of these every other week. Unless there's a huge demand and we can start doing it weekly, then that'll be something that can happen. Like us on Facebook, The Junk Drawer Show. Subscribe to us. Like us on Instagram, Junk Drawer Show, or The Junk Drawer Show. And Twitter is just Junk Drawer Show. And, we'll have YouTube links and stuff. So subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your sister. Not because they're ladies, but just because they're ladies.
Tell your pets.
We like pets.
I think that's a very untapped demographic.
That's true.
So tell your dogs. Tell
Mostly
your cats.
dogs. Cats are dumb.
Yeah, don't tell your parakeets either. Fuck birds.
Birds are stupid. If you like birds as a pet, you should just not ever be our friend.
Just get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
I'm walking here.